Happy Monday. I just wanted to let you know that it's been about 30 days since I've seen most of you in person, and that makes me a little sad. I realize that this isn't what I signed up to do, but I'm making do, and you are too. I just know in my personality type I enjoy being around people and in contact with them and bumping into people on campus. So I miss you. And I'm assuming it's mutual, that you miss me too. Well, for this devotion, I wanted to revisit a text that I actually talked about just for a minute during my Gym Pastor Friday devotion. But I want to expand upon it, how I think it's relevant to us today. And it's in Philippians 4:13. This is very familiar. And the text is, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. And you've probably read this or heard it before. But I think that it's been taken out of its context. And I think that people haven't quite understood what it's saying. I think they've used it as a rah-rah kind of pep rally. You can do anything you want to do with Christ's strength. Just do it with Christ's strength. But I don't think that's quite the point. And I don't think that because I look in the context of Philippians, and if you look at earlier in the chapter, in verse 4, it says this, rejoice in the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. So rejoice in everything. Verse 6 says this, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by petition and prayer, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So don't be anxious. And finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. All three of those, rejoice always, don't be anxious, whatever is good in your life, think on those, are all about your perspective and your state of mind. Rejoice about the good things that are in your life, even if things are bad. And if you look at the real context of verse 13, what we read at the beginning, it says, I rejoice greatly, this is verse 10, in the Lord, that at last you have renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you have been concerned, but have not had an opportunity to show it. I am not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content whatever my circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it's like to have plenty. I have learned the secret in being content in every and any situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. And then he says, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. So whether I have a job or I don't, whether I'm afraid of my future or not, whether I'm stuck at home with my family in close quarters or not, I can make it with Christ's strength. I want to share a story of my life. When I was working at an academy, this was about 12, 13 years ago. Actually, it's probably like 14 years ago. And I was working at this academy, and another academy invited a bunch of us Midwest academies to host this thing called Truth for Youth. And we go there, and we drove 12 hours through no man's land, and we get there late at night, and the next morning, these high schoolers, I had about 12 high schoolers, we get up for breakfast, and we get there, and we have these trays, and they gave us one piece of toast with applesauce and a fruit cup for 16 and 17-year-old and 18-year-old high schoolers. Well, I helped make the lunch because I was one of the sponsors, and they asked us to volunteer. And they said, we're going to give them one bean burrito per student. And I said, these students are going to be starving. And I remember there was one of our students who was about 240 pounds who said, I am going to die while we are here. And I'm not telling you the academy's name because I don't want to out somebody. But they were really struggling. But there was one positive. That as we drove back, and we probably stopped for like Taco Bell on the way back, but as we pull in to my academy, it was somewhere around dinner time because I remember my students going in and profusely thanking our chef for what he had provided meal after meal in our cafeteria. And they told me, we will never complain about the cafeteria food again. This, I think, is the point, is that no matter if we're struggling or not, God will always provide. He will take care of you, whether you are well-fed or hungry, plenty or in want. He is there to provide for you. And I know through his experience in my life that he will. Have a happy week, everybody.